She Watched contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion is advised. Murder, She Watched is for entertainment purposes only. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Murder, She Watched, the podcast where we solve murders from our couches. My name's Amye Archer. I'm your host. I'm here today with Becca, my partner in crime, Libra detective, fellow Libra detective, all the things.
Yes.
Hi, Becca.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I got a lot in me today.
I have a lot in me today, too. Before we recorded, my husband gave me a hug and said, be brave and don't cry too much.
Was it you? No, it was Kyla texted me last night and said, did you see the video where Eric Dane says goodbye to his daughters? I'm like, nope. Nope. Can't do it. Can't do it.
I started to just read something about it yesterday, and I was like, this is too much. This is too,
because you know what it brings up for me? The movie Stepmom with Julia Roberts and Susan Sarandon. Remember?
Yeah. Yes.
And now I'm going to be recording things to say goodbye to my children. If something happens to me, I can't go down that road.
No. And that's the road I go down. Like, then I'm thinking, what are my last thoughts? Like,
of course.
I'm so morbid.
And how will I prepare myself? How will I prepare my girls for when I'm gone? I just can't go down. I can't.
Have I done enough? Yeah. Like, yeah.
So. I will tell you, last night, I'm trying to not work as much. This is a new thing. Okay. So slamming the laptop shut at 7 p.m. is my new rule, because I could just stay here all day.
Yeah.
So last night, Timmy gave me a little self-care by saying, I'm going to go get us a pizza, which you know is my favorite thing in the whole world.
Way to your heart. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we decided we wanted a margarita pizza, which is the kind with like plops of tomato and fresh mozz and fresh basil. So the pizza place nearest doesn't make it. So Timmy gets in his car, goes over there, and custom orders it with the owner.
Oh, that's so
sweet. Brought it home, and I ate 2 of the biggest slices of pizza, and I had zero regret. And then I had a nice glass of sweet wine. It was amazing. It was an amazing night. And I closed my laptop at 7 o'clock.
Good job. When we came back from vacation in the Uber ride home from the airport, Steve's like, you want to order pizza? And so we each got our favorite pizzas. We showered, got in bed, and ate our pizza.
So what is your favorite pizza?
I like a white sauce. I do like a more veggie heavy white sauce pizza.
Yeah. Okay. Because I like a white pizza too.
Yeah. I would prefer it over red. Personally, I'll eat a red. I mean, there's never been a pizza slice. I'm like, no,
I've never turned down a pizza. I'll eat frozen. I've eaten garbage pizza. I've eaten pizza that my children have taken a couple bites out of and thrown in the trash, and I go whoop, and I pick it right back out and eat it.
Who threw this piece of gold away?
No shame over here. I got M&Ms falling out of my bra, and I'm eating them, and I'm eating pizza out of the trash. It's just, you know what? That's my life. And
it sounds like a great life.
Yes. All right. So one of our couch detectives actually wrote in with a pretty good idea. They were like, can you give the Durst rating up front? Oh, so we know, do we stream it or skip it for the documentary? And I thought that was a good, I'm going to do my best to remember, but I don't always remember. So my Durst rating on this is 3.5, but almost 4, because I thought this was a really good documentary. I just, of course, this could have been 2 episodes.
Yes. I think it could have been 2 long episodes.
Yes.
I think we kind of repeated a little bit of information.
Or, as they used to do in the olden days, a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've noticed, and you probably have noticed this too, it seems like the documentary sweet spot seems to be that 3-part episode. Always. I don't know why.
Always. Yeah. But so my answer to you simply is I would watch this.
I would watch this. I think this is something very important to watch, actually.
I think it's important. And I also think if you are around our age, there is a certain Gen X, elder millennial vibe to this.
There is. Yes.
You know, that really kind of resonated with me. Like, you know, we've talked about this before, and Kyla and I talked about it when we covered Pam Smart. Like, I feel like these kids feel so familiar to me.
Yes, and I love how you looked at them as kids and you can see them as adults, and you're like, "Oh my god, you're the same person still."
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
how I am?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So we're talking today about The Scream Murder, a true teen horror story. I take umbrage with the name.
Yeah, I think the naming could have been better.
Yeah. Because they do mention Scream in here at some point, but like it's not a big enough presence to have named the documentary.
Yeah. But then I was doing some internet sleuthing, and I guess really it was tagged that by the media, so that's I think the
Okay.
name that it kinda
Okay.
kept with.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So this aired on Hulu just recently. I think it dropped last week. So
Yeah.
2026, if you're listening to this in the future. If you're listening in the future, how'd everything go?
Oh,
Is
are we
everybody
alright?
okay? Are we still
Yeah.
here?
Have the AI overlords taken over?
Can you look me up and just tell me everything will be okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we start in Pocatello, Idaho. And for those of you not familiar with Idaho, which I wasn't either, I was mistaking it with Indiana, and I was asking Kyla if she knows where it is, and she's like, "Girl, I live in Indiana. What are you talking about?" So, Pocatello, let me just look it up here, is kind of in the, southeast corner.
Yeah. It's closer to Utah, correct? Like, that's
Closer
what I
it
assumed.
looks like it's pretty close to Utah and Wyoming. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, it's kinda out there.
Yeah, and it
This
seems to
happened
have a large Mormon population.
Yes,
Yeah.
as well. Yep. So this happened on Sunday, September 24th, day before my birthday, 2006.
Yeah.
We open with a 911 call. Someone is arriving home and they find their cousin dead on the floor. The house is in the neighborhood of Whispering Cliffs, which makes it pretty remote. Sounds like it's a suburb, but kind of like a rural suburb, which we kind of have
Yeah.
in these areas. So, state police John Gansky responds, and there's a lot of different police officers in here. John Gansky's kind of the main one that talks a lot. He's the baldy, the cutie.
Yes, and he really aged like a fine wine.
He really did.
Yeah.
So he's talking and walking us through this, and he says they found Cassie Jo Stoddart, 16 years old, on her back with several stab wounds.
Yeah.
She had defensive wounds and a broken pinky. This is something out of every parent's nightmare.
Oh, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. Cassie lived with her mom, Anna, and her stepdad, and we see Anna throughout the doc, but Anna has since passed away, so
Yes.
she's not in the doc. But
No.
we have a lot of footage of her. Oh my God, her testifying on the stand.
Oh,
It's a lot.
it's a lot, and just her victim impact speech.
Oh my God, yeah. So Cassie was house sitting for her aunt and uncle, and Anna, Cassie's mom, and Victor arrive at the scene. And of course, they're devastated.
Mm.
I mean, this is, again, every parent's worst nightmare. So, in the initial scene, there's no sign of forced entry, which tells us she let them in.
You let them in, yeah.
It looked like there was a scuffle, but the house was pretty much intact. No murder weapons were found. They had no witnesses. They're starting from nothing here.
From nothing, yeah.
Isn't it always so interesting to you how they start investigations when they have nothing?
Yeah, like, where do you start? Like, what like, I wouldn't know what to do.
Well, I think what they do, and I think this is smart, is they go to the school and start interviewing people.
Yeah.
So the next day at school, Cassie's friends are learning of her murder. And we have a couple different friends interviewed here. We have Danny, we have Amber. Everyone's crying, everyone's upset. We meet Josh. He was a good friend of Cassie's. He describes her as someone who was kind and gentle, friends with a lot of people. Like, she
Yeah.
just sounds like an amazing girl. And I will tell you what was creepy is we're seeing this video of her at this point.
Yes.
But then we learn later that that's in the video.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like, and the jacket that video happened the same day of the murder. She's wearing that jacket in the video, and you see the jacket on the couch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm. So they interview. Okay, so I want to talk about this teacher because I got a real problem with this guy.
Oh, yeah.
They interview one of her teachers, and he's like, "Well, she wasn't the best student or whatever, but she was nice. She was a beloved friend." Oh my God, could you not, in death, kind of give her a little bit like she was a great student, even if it's not true?
Yeah, and he was like, she wasn't in the in crowd or the out crowd. She was just there. It's like,
Wow. Okay. So up to this point, we had in the documentary, we just get this narrative like, whoa, the community is stunned by this because
yeah.
things like this don't happen. But they do, because we learned that 2 years earlier, there
Mhm.
was also another unsolved homicide of Nori Jones. She was murdered in her home in September, exactly 2 years. They're
Yeah.
both young women who were left alone. I'm like, okay, so things do happen like this in Pocatello.
Yes. And that murder is still unsolved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first person that they're going to look at is Cassie's boyfriend, Matt. And Cassie's mom says she dropped Cassie and her boyfriend. No, was it Cassie's mom who said this? I can't remember. I'm sorry. But one of the moms dropped Cassie and Matt off together at this house on Friday night around 6:30. So they bring Matt into the police station and they're questioning him. And, he's described as like he was a football player, but he was also kind of a class clown, got along with everyone.
Yeah.
What did you think of this? They question him and his mom is there and he's like, "Oh, I heard that they cut her head off. I heard that they cut her fingers off. I heard no emotion."
It was a little bizarre that he was not breaking down crying or upset. Yeah.
No. So immediately the police are kind of like, what's with this guy?
Yeah.
So he tells them he was dropped off and he was going to stay there. That was the plan with their friends, Tori Adamczyk and Brian Draper. They were going to come over. They were mutual friends. And they did. And they came over and they showed up at like 8:00. He said he gave them a tour of the house. They all watched Kill Bill.
Yeah.
This was a very specific time.
Very specific time of DVDs.
You see all the DVDs in the house and everything. Yeah. So then he says, Matt says, Brian and Tori left at like maybe 9:30, 10:00 to go to a movie. And Matt says, after they left, Cassie and I were sitting on the couch and the lights went out and it freaked us out. So we hid upstairs. And he called his mom to ask to stay and she said no. Yeah. But she did confirm to the police that she heard Cassie in the background of that call. And that probably saved him.
Yeah. And she said, like, you and Cassie come home with me. She can stay with us. But she didn't want to leave the dogs.
Yes, she had to let the dogs out. Yeah. So Matt's mom picked him up around 11. And that's all he knows. So now the cops are like, okay, did anyone eat anything? Did anyone, like, they're trying to get to, was a knife presented at any time?
Yeah.
And Matt says, well, we did have popsicles, but I also showed Tori and Brian this really sharp knife. And mom shuts this down.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. She was like, stop. I have never heard this before. Cut the tape. Yeah.
Yes. I thought it was great because I rail constantly about cops questioning children without their parents. But sometimes if you have parents in there, it's still not even better. No. Because the parents are also intimidated by the police.
Yeah. Like I always tell my children, innocent or guilty, you don't talk to the police.
Lawyer up. Lawyer up
immediately.
Yeah. So she's like, we're leaving. I didn't know about this. So the cops think maybe they used the knife to open their popsicles, but it does introduce this knife.
Yes.
Which is a problem. And Cassie, she was stabbed 28 times. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's overkill.
That's overkill. And they say that at least 8 of the wounds would have killed her. So they didn't need all of those injuries.
They also believe from the wounds that there's 2 different knives.
Yes.
So now Matt comes back and they ask him if he'd like to do polygraph. He agrees to it. Dad asks the right question. Are these admissible in court? He passes with flying colors. And at this point, they rule him out because they're like, we really, and I was stunned that they were able to rule him out so easily.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think if they didn't hear Cassie in that phone call.
Yeah. It would have been a different story. I think he could have somehow gotten looped into being involved.
Because we see this all the time with young boys. You know, they're blamed a lot of the time. And a lot of times they're guilty. They are. But a lot of times they're just kind of lumped in. And I'm thinking of the yogurt shop murders.
Yeah. And I think also kind of what saved him is that when his mom shut the interview down, after they left,
Mhm.
he got really upset and he wanted to tell the police what he knew. And she mentions that. She's like, after we're coming back because he was so upset. He
Yeah.
wants to talk. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're right. So a week after Cassie is murdered, they go to Tori's house because now they're going to focus on Tori and Brian because they're the only two other people who were there.
Yeah.
So they go to Tori's house, and Tori's mom, Shannon, is in this documentary, and she said, or Tori tells them they left between 9:30 and 10, and they went to see the movie Pulse. Then they went back to Tori's house.
Yes.
So we also meet Brian's mom. I really liked her.
I have a soft spot in my heart for both of his parents.
For Brian's parents.
For Brian's parents, yes.
Yeah.
They seem just yeah.
They're heartbroken, and we can't, I mean, this is an impossible situation for any parent. So there's no playbook. There's no way to act, right? But I loved how they kept Cassie as the victim in the forefront of their minds the entire time.
Even though they know that their son had something to do with this, this is coming to fruition, that's something he's involved with.
Yeah.
They're still thinking about this girl and her family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So the cops bring Brian Draper in. And his mom is like, we let him go in and speak without us because we didn't think he had anything to do with this.
Yeah.
So they press him a little bit on this movie. And he's like, yeah, it all happened as I said, but he can't really describe the movie. Like these kids have not thought this out because they should at least have a synopsis of the movie.
Yeah. They had no idea.
I never even heard of this movie.
I had not either. Yeah.
So he says, okay, look, I was lying. We went through cars.
Yeah.
And I remember this was a thing.
You walk by, open the,
people went through cars. Like even when we were growing up, so I was born in 1977. So I was kind of this was 2006. This was the year I was having my girl. So I was almost 30. But like in the 80s, like you had to have an alarm on your car at all times. Like, and it still does happen, but like people used to break in to steal stereo systems.
Yeah, because you'd have the face plate and you'd pop it out. Yep.
Yep, exactly. So he says they were going through cars, and so the cops press him and they're like, can you show us one car that you went through?
Yeah.
So that we could get fingerprints. And he's like, I wore gloves. And he's like kind of all over the place.
Yeah, he's very jittery. And you hear his mom like kind of gasp and like, she's like, I thought this was the worst of it. Like, oh, why are you tattling on yourself for breaking into cars? Yeah.
Yeah, it's So basically he's all set to take a polygraph test. And before he can take it, he's like, I want to talk to the police.
Yeah.
So he tells them he and his parents come in as well. And I was glad that his parents were there with him.
Yes.
And he tells them that he and Tori never left. They went outside. They hid. They were going to sneak back in and scare them. They shut the lights off at the electrical panel. They smashed something downstairs to try to lure Matt and Cassie down. They did see Matt leave. So they were trying to lure Cassie down.
Yeah.
The dad is like comforting him. And you could see the parents are just, ugh.
You see their emotional blindsiding, like they're being blindsided as we're watching, and they're going through what we're going through watching it. Yeah.
So they wore painted masks. They snuck up on Cassie. Brian says that Tori began stabbing her. And he says he was freaking out, but it was all Tori. Pam, his mom, says, I just went numb. Like I didn't know what to do. That's got to be unbelievably hard.
I couldn't imagine.
And dad says he was broken. He was crying. He's like, this was not someone lying. Like Brian had full remorse. We see him break down. Yeah. We see him cry. I do believe that Brian had remorse.
In that moment, I believe he was, when he was like, then everyone leaves the room and the tape is still rolling. And he's like, I'm so sorry, Cassie. I'm so sorry. And he's a 16-year-old little boy.
Yeah. Yep. So Brian now says Tori threatened him that he would kill Brian if Brian said anything. He said he did not do anything. He did not touch Cassie at all. So he's really downplaying his role in this.
Yeah.
Dad says, I knew there was more to the story, but I also knew he was toast. He says it was like watching a movie, like somebody else's life. I can only imagine that.
Oh,
I mean, I've been to a much lesser degree blindsided in moments with my children.
yeah.
And it does feel like this has to be happening to somebody else. Like you just have that.
Yeah. I have
Ugh.
left my body and I'm watching this. I'm not
Yeah.
experiencing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So he tells the police that they ditched their masks and everything else. And he tells them where it is and he takes the cops
He
there.
takes them there.
And this will come back later because people argue, his defense attorney argues that he should have been given some consideration for this.
Yeah.
Because this made their case.
They would not have had a case if it wasn't for this.
I don't know if they would have ever found this evidence. It was buried like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And guess what they find? A fucking videotape. Okay, so we see the tape. It begins on September 22nd. Brian and Tori are talking about their plan to kill Cassie. It's mostly Brian talking.
Yeah.
And he's like, sorry, she's perfect. She has to die. They record her.
Yeah.
She's wearing the same clothes, like you said, like that same little jacket. Now that night, we see it's 8:30. They're driving to Whispering Cliffs. And Tori's like, there should be no law against killing people. And Brian agrees. He's like, it's natural. I just want to kill someone. She's going to be all alone in that house. And Tori says, I'm just horny thinking of this. I can't even imagine what it was like for all three of these parents. Cassie's parents, Tori's parents, Brian's parents, because even though these boys are not victims, Cassie is the victim.
She's the victim.
All three of the parents are kind of victims of this too.
And the families, the aftermath of this murder has affected everyone. It was a bomb that went off.
Oh, Jesus. So now we see it's 10 o'clock. They are saying Pink Floyd is the greatest rock band of all time.
They were only 16. They don't know. They didn't have good music yet.
No. Then it cuts to 11:32. So there's an hour and a half of missing time.
Yeah.
And they're like, you could tell they're like, adrenaline is pumping.
Yeah.
And Brian's like, I killed Cassie. We killed Cassie. I stabbed her in the fucking throat. They're almost like glee. There's
like,
glee.
There's glee. They're bragging to each other. Like they are so hyped up.
Yeah. They didn't film the actual murder.
Thank God.
But they filmed confessions, essentially.
Yeah.
Everyone is just stunned by this tape. And one of the cops says, these boys stabbed this girl almost 30 times. And moments later, they're videotaping their glee. That's where I got the glee from, I guess. Yeah.
And like, were they still wearing those bloody their shirts? And that like
they had to have been.
They had to have been like holding the knife. Like that's what I was like. It's just
And Tori's going, we got to get our shit together. Get our shit together. Come on, focus. You know, we got to get our story horrifying. Straight. The idea that these two boys were out there.
Yeah.
Because we learn later they're talking about a school shooting too.
Yeah. And they had a whole list of other girls they wanted to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brian asks after his confession, this spoke volumes to me. And I remember when I was working on my book with school shooting survivors, there was one in Alaska that was really kind of, you know, out in the middle of nowhere, very isolated community. And I remember I talked with the art teacher from that school, and the art teacher told me, like, this kid thought that once he shot people, they were going to pop back up. Like a video game.
Yeah.
And I felt a little bit of that here where Brian is saying to his parents, like, okay, I could go back to school now, right? Like they don't understand the gravity and the reality of what has happened.
And when you're 16, you're living in the moment. There's nothing can happen to you. Today's the day. And I don't think he understood that there were no more days. It's done. Like it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and that is the adolescent brain.
Yeah.
Like I always say, the reason I was not in jail or murdered or pregnant as a teenager was pure luck.
Yeah.
It wasn't the choices I was making,
No.
because I was making really bad choices.
Yeah.
But like by the grace of something, I managed to escape mostly unscathed. So
Yeah.
like we all thought that way
Yeah.
when we were teenagers.
Like I say it jokingly a little bit, like I could have easily have been anybody on Love After Lockup.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I had a wonderful family, but I didn't
Mhm.
have a lot of rules and I
Mhm.
didn't have a lot of role models, and
Yeah.
drinking and drugs was in my atmosphere. Like
Yeah.
I'm very lucky
Yeah.
that I am not addicted to drugs or in jail. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I never really blame parents unless there's like something that we can see obvious, right?
Yeah.
Like abuse or neglect or something like that. But like you can do everything right and your
Yeah.
kid is still out there making bad decisions.
Yeah.
It's just it's adolescence.
And we never know. You can be as close as you can be.
Mhm.
You don't know with anybody. My own husband, you, me, we don't know what's going on in someone's mind
No.
and the thoughts they're thinking. And
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So now they question Tori and it's only him in the room. And it's only 3 hours after Brian's confession.
Yeah.
They tried to get a confession out of him, and mom, like you said, is horrified that he was stealing from cars.
Yeah.
It's like, just wait.
Just wait. Yeah.
He's detailed. He's very calm. And the cops
Almost
are like,
too calm.
oh, this feels different.
Yeah. There was no remorse.
Yeah, it feels very different than Brian.
Yeah.
So he asks for an attorney. The kid.
Yeah.
So before the interview is officially done, they tell him he's going to be arrested for first-degree murder. And his dad says to him, "Is this true? Did this happen?" And he mumbles, "Yes."
Yeah.
That's as close as they have to him confessing.
Yeah. And he's sitting there and he's hunched over, and this is the only time you see his father in this whole documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad goes, "I love you. You know I love you, right?"
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there. Like, I don't even think he responds to those love you questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say both sets of parents were incredibly supportive of these kids that
Yeah.
we saw.
That we saw.
We don't know what's happening in their lives off camera, but just seeing them in these police interrogation rooms, I'm like, okay, these parents are supporting these kids.
And by all accounts, they seem to have very active, loving families.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So mom is like, this is Tori's mom. They told me he would probably get 20 years. And I remember thinking how terrible that's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, my son will not be out of prison until he's 36. Like, that just feels, he's never been in any trouble.
Yeah. She said he wasn't a fighter. He wasn't violent leading up to this.
Nope.
Yeah.
So these families, at least Brian's, are LDS.
Yeah.
And, we get into, I don't know why we need to know that fact, but they do bring it up.
Yeah. And they kind of make it a point to mention it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, they do talk about Tori kind of having a break with his religion. That could have been a part of it. Or maybe it was Brian. I'll get to it. So we talk about Brian. We learned that these poor parents suffered a lot of infertility and miscarriages. And so they finally were able to adopt. They adopted Brian.
Mm-hmm.
They said he had a lot of anxiety, but he went to therapy. He was on Ritalin and he was talented and smart. And his dad says, "We were very close, but I guess we weren't close enough."
Oh, when he said that,
I highly recommend for anyone who did not watch Adolescence to watch it.
Yeah.
Because it hits on this in a modern day.
Yes.
Right? Because don't forget, at this time, 2006, like, we don't have online lives like we do now.
No, we didn't have iPhones yet. Like what's that year did the iPhone come out? Like 2006,
I'm not sure.
6, yeah.
I'm not sure.
But we weren't even digital really yet. Like, yeah.
No. And we did have like some archaic social media in the forms of like chat rooms and stuff like that. And a lot of that was in the news around Columbine.
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't like it is today. So, like,
No.
today you have a kid could be sitting in his room
Yeah.
and still be in trouble. So, like, Adolescence is a really good watch on Netflix, and
Yes, I recommend it.
I think the writer did win an Academy Award for it. Like, it's excellent.
It's excellent,
Yeah,
yeah.
or an Emmy. I'm sorry, an Emmy.
Yeah, and at this time, you had, like, your family computer in the living room, so
Mhm.
you thought everything was
Mhm.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So news breaks these two are arrested, and Brian's peers, and that is not linked to Nori Jones' case.
No.
So Brian's peers say Brian was pretty quiet, but like he was on the soccer team. But we do learn that he had a little bit of a stutter
Yeah.
and that he was kind of made fun of for it. And he kind of did things for shock value. You know,
Yeah.
he was a skateboarder, but he was like, you know, little bit of the vibe I'm getting is a little bit of like Jackass, the boys Jackass. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
He wanted to, like, make people laugh, and he would
Mhm.
do it at, like, extreme kinda ways,
Yeah,
and
Jackass the show. I'm not calling the kid a
oh, yeah.
jackass. Yeah.
And that was the time, though. That
Yes.
was
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yep. So Tori was also very quiet. Friends say that he was hyper and a jokester, but they note that there was a change in his personality and he started sort of becoming a little withdrawn, a little angry. He had an obsession with knives, which
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but like that wasn't that odd. I don't know. I grew up with some dark people. Like,
You know, my own children, I have 2 boys. I grew Columbine happened my senior year in high school. I remember it very vividly that day.
yeah.
And I remember just hearing, like, oh, they liked violent video games, and they liked
It was
m
specifically Doom, the
yes.
single shooter game. Yeah.
And because that was all we had really then for
Yes.
Doom.
Yep. Yep.
But I remember, like, Grayson and Maddox for a long time wanted to I can't even remember the name of the game now, um, wanted to have this game, and it was like a shooting game.
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, you're not g" and they
Yeah.
used to, "We're not gonna really shoot people." Well, you
Y
are really shooting people. You're in the
yeah.
game.
It was
Yeah.
interesting because we went from, like, the satanic panic
Mhm.
of our generation
Yeah.
to, like, this video game panic,
Yeah.
this tech panic, if you will. And now I feel like it's still there, but it's, like, around social media.
It's social media
Yeah.
panic. Yeah.
Yep. So, okay, they were both friends with Cassie and she was very nice to them. And that is the rub of all of this. Like, and that kind of was the narrative out of Columbine too. Like, if you looked at the footage of Columbine, Eric and Dylan were like trench coat mafia, they
Yep.
were outcasts, they were weird, but that wasn't always true.
Nope.
They were actually friends with a lot of the people that they murdered.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of you have to separate the news around Columbine, and I highly recommend Dave Cullen is kind of like the Columbine
Yeah.
expert and he's written a bunch of books about it. I highly recommend his research if you're interested in that. And he's also gone on and done some research and books around Parkland.
Yeah. I saw him
Mhm.
on an interview for Parkland. Yeah.
So Brian was also into recording everything and he had the same Sony hand cam that I had when the girls were little.
I had that same one that
Yeah.
I got when Grayson was born.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
My mom, I think, bought it for me for Christmas. I remember being like, "Oh my god, this is so nice." Like I was so excited.
Oh, yeah.
So also on this tape is where we learn they were stalking other people.
Yeah.
Danny, Amber, like all these other
They had,
girls.
like, a list of girls. Yeah.
Oh, and these girls, they like have survivor guilt over this. It's
Yeah.
horrific. Like you said, it's just these ripple effects of this.
This affected one, like, I don't know, this is such a simple thought, but I really came to terms with this watching it. This one death hurt killed so many people,
I know.
ruined so many
I
people's
know.
lives.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. So they were real into horror movies, and we hear them talking about this, and they're trying to recreate the movie Scream, which I guess they're making the correlation with those masks.
And the stabbing, 'cause
Yeah.
everyone got stabbed in Scream.
So they wanted to make slasher movies. That was their thing. And some of these girls are like, I'm alive because Cassie is dead.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We also find out, though, that Tori was, like, making kid scary movies as a kid, like
yes, Tori was very into filmmaking.
yes, and he was
Mhm.
very I feel like at he seemed to be more into the scary movies, where Brian was more into Columbine.
Okay,
Like,
that makes sense.
yeah, it
Yep,
was,
yep.
yeah,
And I think if you have the marriage of those two things.
yeah,
So now the trial. Brian's dad assumed they would be treated as juveniles,
yeah,
but they are charged as adults. And Dave Martinez, one of Brian's attorneys, says, he was 17 at the time. And he believes after watching the confession that Tori was the main actor here. And that's what he set out to prove.
yeah,
In retrospect, if these parents had lawyered up immediately, a good lawyer probably would have said to Brian, okay, tell me what happened. And once he confessed and, I know where everything's buried and blah, blah, blah. They needed to leverage that.
They needed to use that to his
Mhm.
advantage and
Yeah.
get him a lesser deal.
Yes. Yeah. So Brian's mom says all of his friends hung out here. I knew them all. And she talks about his stutter when he was growing up and how his friends were very kind about it. But in junior high, that changed. He kind of went through that awkward growth phase that boys
Yeah.
go through. He shot up. He was very tall.
Yeah.
So he was really thin. He was teased badly, at braces. Like, he was just an awkward little boy.
Yeah. And I say it all the time. Middle school is so hard. Like,
You do say this a lot.
I did not enjoy parenting middle school boys. It was very hard for me. It was,
And you've made me think very differently about that time.
yeah.
Because you've talked about how we just kind of leave them out there.
We do. And we have after school programs up to I say this all the time, after school programs up to 5th grade. And then we just say, you can go home after school by yourself now.
Yeah.
And we just let these children flangle for 3 years. Oh, when you get to high school, there'll be something for you. When you get to high school, there will be clubs.
Yeah, I agree. So Tori's mom says in 2005, so this is a year before the murders, they had moved and Tori lost touch with his friend group.
Yeah.
And he met Brian shortly after, and they become kind of in that vacuum. He clung to Brian, right? And they became friends, and Brian came over a lot. And now Brian's father cries and says, I was on the road a lot. I was consulting. I was caught up in my own world of making money. And he says, one time Brian's mom did call and said, I don't like this Tori kid. And Brian begins to become obsessed with horror movies. And then they find out the boys are watching Columbine videos. And Brian's dad says that really set us back a little bit when we found that out. I felt bad for him. You would second guess everything. Yeah. I mean, I can't even, to love your child so much and then to also hold space for the death of this beautiful girl, right, whose family is destroyed over this. Like, there are no winners here.
There's no winners here. And there's a lot of controversy, if you will, about how long Brian and Tori were friends.
Okay.
And a lot of people at school were like, they had just kind of become friends like sophomore year.
Yes.
And then it just like really happened fast. This like hanging out in groups to hanging out in a smaller group to then just Brian and Tori. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, later, I don't know where this is, but later one of the attorneys, I think it's Brian's attorney, says this isn't about Brian and it's not about Tori. It's about Brian and Tori.
Yeah.
Like that pull. There was something there.
They were two wayward boys who found each other.
And this is kind of the narrative around Columbine too. Like I remember it was always like Eric was the ringleader. Eric was the bad one. Yeah. And Dylan was like, just brought in. Like that was the narrative.
Yeah.
So like I think it's our nature to think somebody's influenced. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brian's friends say he stopped hanging out with them around this time. And so Brian's mom decided, look, you want to hang out with Tori, great, but Tori has to come here.
Yeah.
And she said it was a real source of fighting in their house, of conflict. And pretty soon all of Brian's friends faded away and it was just Tori.
Yeah. And he stopped skateboarding. He stopped doing everything except for like making movies with Tori.
But like as a parent, you see this. Clearly, Pam saw this. She knew it was a problem because she identified it to her husband.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I don't know. Yeah.
Like you can't say, I don't want you to see Tori anymore because Tori's at school.
Yeah.
He's going to see him.
And then the more you say no, the more he's going to want to be with Tori. That's our nature. The more you say no to me, the more I want to do it. So
trust me, I'm raising teen girls. I know. So like you just have to sit back and watch them in these terrible relationships and hope that this will just sort itself out.
And be like, I love tattoos, don't you? Like,
Sure,
yeah, tattoos are great. And hope that works them and think, if my mom likes tattoos, these are lame. Yeah.
So the attorneys, I think smartly, argue for separate trials.
Yeah.
And they were granted. And they were both using the same defense. My client thought it was a joke. The other person was the ringleader. So they had to find a way to separate them. So Brian's lawyer's like, we went first. That was I wanted to go first. And this was a hard trial. And I just wrote, oh my God, Cassie's parents testify. Her mom, Anna, sobbing on the stand. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine it. God forbid I ever have to think of it. I can't even imagine it.
And she had to go through 2 trials.
I was sobbing watching her.
Yeah.
I had to get into my tub.
I had to put on my electric blanket. Yeah.
Sometimes I think I could fill my tub with tears.
Oh, for sure.
Or just over time, you know?
Yeah. I've cried enough already at 45 to fill 2 tubs.
Yeah, you're probably right. Fill a pool. Yeah. So Brian's dad is like, I wanted to give that family all the respect they deserved. Yeah. I kept thinking, like, what if this was my daughter? Oh. What if this was my child? And I really loved that they really focused on Cassie. Yes. That was important.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's a lot of loss here. There's enough loss to go around.
Yeah.
But that is, I feel like, the saddest loss because what did she do wrong? Like, she just wanted to stay at that house and let the fucking dog out.
Yeah. She just wanted to do what she was supposed to do, that she was, her aunt and uncle asked her to do.
Yep. Yeah. And believe me, when we talk about the ripple effect, that aunt and uncle probably feel really guilty too. They shouldn't, but they probably do.
But what they don't talk about in the documentary, which I learned on my own, is that the 13-year-old little cousin is the one who found her. Because she walked into the house first.
So there's another life fractured. Jesus. So Brian's dad says, look, I knew my son was going to go to prison, but I didn't know for how long. I mean, he took accountability. He showed remorse. He admitted the crime. He showed cops where the tape and the knives were. Like, we knew he was going to prison and he should go to prison.
Yes.
But we just didn't know how long.
Yeah. They were thinking like 20 years, like, and then he'll be out. And yeah.
So Braun Rammel is Tori's attorney. And I'm like, I've never heard a name like that in my life.
No.
Is that an LDS name? I don't know. Braun Rammel.
It's an interesting name. Yeah.
I would just call him Bramble and be done with it. Right?
Brambleberry.
Yes. Yes. So Tori's mom says he wrote down where he was going. Okay. So I'm just going to say I have a ton of empathy for Tori's parents as well, but there's a little less touch with reality here. There's
less empathy, I feel.
It's more defensiveness.
Yes.
And I'm not, listen, everybody handles these things their own way. I'm not saying, they're bad people. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, like, it's a very different vibe than you get off of Brian's parents.
Like Brian's father at one point is broken down, sobbing, tears pouring down his face.
Did you not just want to hug that man?
Oh.
Mm-mm. And his little crackly voice.
His little ponytail.
I felt so bad for him. Yeah. Jesus. So Tori's mom says, look, I don't think he was planning on doing this because he wrote down where he was going that night, gave me the address. Do you do that if you're planning on murdering somebody? Brian had all of the stuff at his house. He packed it. He brought it. Tori, I don't think, knew how far this was going to go. And she could be right.
Yeah.
She could be right. They didn't get into that.
No.
So, like, we're not sure. They do talk later that there is more physical evidence against Brian.
Yeah.
But is that true that all the knives and stuff like that were at Brian's? We don't know. So the defense tried to keep the tape out, but they were unsuccessful. You can't keep that fucking tape out.
That's the whole case.
It's the whole case.
Yeah.
So Tori's trial is in May. So right after Brian's. And his lawyer says there was almost no evidence against Tori. His DNA was only on 2 things: his own shirt and one of the masks. Brian's DNA was on everything.
Yeah. And Cassie's DNA was on Brian's things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only person who confessed to killing Cassie was Brian. And the police just went all in on Tori being the leader, and they had tunnel vision. This is what the defense attorney's arguing.
Yeah.
2 knives were recovered. All of the wounds were created by what they call the Rambo knife. No, the majority of the wounds, I'm sorry, were created by what they call the Rambo knife, and that was Brian's.
Yeah.
They bring in a psychologist, and she's looking at Brian's writing. And this, I dealt with this a lot as a writing teacher. Like, sometimes you would get things that were pretty fucking dark.
Yeah.
They find this thing, but as a writer, I'm also like, that's fiction.
It's art. Yeah.
Yeah. So they find this thing that he wrote, and it's kind of like Columbine influenced, and it's really dark, and it's describing murder. And they say that Brian has been writing this kind of stuff for a while, and they had no evidence to support that Tori was kind of going down the same road. And like you said, Cassie's DNA was only found on Brian. Yikes. Okay. Episode 3. Bron Rammel says Brian was bigger and older, and we focused on him being the leader. And Tori's mom also says Brian was real into this, and Tori was just drawn into it. So the story that we're talking about they call it the Black River story.
Yeah. And
Brian claimed that Tori wrote it and dictated it to him, but we have no. This becomes a he said here.
It's that point. It's the Spider-Man meme, right?
Yep.
I just think that they were both probably a little dark, and they found each other, and they fed off of each other.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's terrifying because again, this could happen to any of us.
Yeah.
So Brian's lawyer says, I have been doing this for 30 years, and that is the hardest case I've ever had. I was so close to that family and so close to Brian.
Yeah.
So the verdict is Brian's guilty of first-degree murder. Tori also. And the judge is sentencing them together, so they pretty much know he's going to throw the book at them.
Yeah.
Brian's father's like, we thought parole in 30 years, which feels like a long, long time, was going to be really hard.
Yeah.
But we were telling ourselves he could have appeals, he could do this, But people were very concerned. The mitigating factor here was that list.
Yeah.
And the mass shooting.
And they, in their videotape, they talk about how they wanted, after they did all these kills, wanted to then do a school shooting to have even a larger kill number. So
these boys needed to go away.
They needed to go away.
So the judge sentences them to a mandatory sentence, which is life without parole.
Yeah.
I just wrote, wow.
I know what they did was wrong, and I'm not condoning it, but that just
they needed to go to jail, and they needed to go to jail for a long time.
But I don't know. But Cassie's life is gone, so should their life be gone too? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. It's a hard case.
It's hard. It's so hard.
And we'll talk about that at the end, because I have such conflicting feelings. Like, I could really see both sides of it. Shocker as a Libra.
Shocker. Same here. Yeah.
So the judge even says to them in the courtroom, like, sorry, guys, I know you're kids, but I'm worried that you're going to kill again. And the parents are devastated, and they were determined to become famous through murder. So this judge thwarted their plan, is what the cops are saying.
Yeah.
Brian's dad, sobbing again, says, I walked outside and the skies were lightning and thunder, and it felt fitting.
Yeah.
So Brian's mom says, after the trial, my daughter and I went to a diner, and people were staring at us and pointing. This happened. I worked with a family there was a school shooting in California, a small one at a Jewish community center.
I know what you're talking about.
And the boy had been injured, and but he survived.
Yeah.
And the mother told me a story about like going to a restaurant, and there was another family in there who had lost their kid, and how she felt like she had to get up and leave. Like they had to get up and leave.
Yeah.
Because they had such survivor's guilt. And it's just, oh God.
It's just,
I know, it's so hard. So I'm gonna cry.
I know. I'm like feeling it in my chest.
Oh, I hate myself.
Because you just are like, oh, I feel so bad for the parents and the sisters and the family because you didn't commit this crime, but you're
Right.
carrying the scarlet letter on your shirt.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Pam's like crying, remembering this. And she's like, I just kept thinking, please don't do this to me in front of
Yeah.
my daughter. You know, please
Yeah.
don't do this in front of
She's
my
like,
daughter.
rip me apart, do whatever you
Yep.
want to me, but don't do
Yep.
this in front of my daughter. Yeah.
But the waitress actually said, I'm Cassie's family, and I want to thank you for the kindness and respect that you've shown my family. I could cry.
And like that, yeah, that
It's just,
yeah.
I love when people show each other kindness in moments like this.
Because we all deserve kindness in moments like this. Like
Yeah.
we're all just human going through this for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And for that family member to show her grace
Yeah.
and for them to have shown Cassie's family grace,
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah. So Brian's dad says, I just one day walked away from my job. Like I was working and working and working, and I walked away. And this is common too in people who lose a child or go through some kind of trauma, because Brian's parents did lose their son.
Yeah.
In all ways that matter, right?
Yeah.
He said, I tried to give away everything I owned and just disappear.
He wanted to give to others because he felt like he had taken so much from people.
Yep. He said, I gave away almost $1 million in real estate. Wow. So 2025, 18 years later.
Wow.
It's been 18 years. The girls who were on this list and also friends with Cassie are just happy to be alive.
Yeah.
They're like, it was the luck. Can you imagine that? Like feeling like it's just the luck of the draw that I'm alive.
Yeah.
Like we kind of say that, like I said earlier, oh, it's lucky that I didn't end up blah, blah, blah. But like there was somebody who put their name on a list.
Yeah.
And because of one choice they made, they're alive.
And I believe her name was Miranda.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about how the day before the murders, Tori was trying to convince her to sleep over with Cassie.
Yep.
And she's like,
it was Amber.
Amber. Okay. Thank you. And like, could you imagine that? Like if you were thinking about sleeping over there, or
it's so wild to me.
Yeah. Or Matt, who was the boyfriend who had just left.
I know. Brian's dad says to be a dad means always being there for your kid. And it doesn't end when your son goes to prison. My son, he's standing outside the prison and he's like, my son has been here since the day after his 18th birthday. And initially people were really violent towards him because of his crime. But, you know, we get a sense that that's been worked out. So now we see Brian, current day. Yeah. And they're men.
They're men. And I don't know why, but seeing them as men shocked me.
So they got to be what, 35, 36?
35. I think they're 35, 36. Yeah.
Yeah. He says he felt invisible in his life and everyone responds to violence. And he just lashed out because he was weak as a kid. He says, you know, I had a seemingly normal childhood, but I always felt so intense about the world around me. And I didn't know why or how to connect with that.
Yeah.
That's adolescence, honey.
Yeah, we all felt that way.
Yes. Like, I still feel that way.
Just being a teenager. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But and Brian's parents thought they were doing right. He was in therapy. He was seeing somebody like,
I think too, like we never, you know, he was probably raised by boomers, right? At least older Gen Xers.
Yeah.
They didn't talk much about what it was like to be an adolescent.
No.
I think we talk a lot more about that now.
Yes.
Than we used to, if that makes sense.
Growing up, I don't remember any adult in my life talking about what it was like when they were a teenager or how they felt when they were a teenager. But also, I was raised by my grandma. And when she was a teenager, she got married at 17 and and she got married because she wanted to get out of her family's home because it was abusive.
Yeah.
So like, what was she going to talk about? You know?
My mother was a mother at 17 or 18. What was she going to talk about?
Yeah.
Like nobody did that for us.
No.
Nobody was like, it is normal to feel these really intense things. That's something I try to tell my kids, like when
Yeah.
they were those ages. Like, it's normal to feel this. It's
Mhm.
okay. You're a teenager. You're going to feel things so deeply and so heavily.
And you're
And
so
hopefully
passionate about
that will
everything.
end and you won't be like me crying in the tub at almost 50 fucking years old. So Brian says Columbine became a path for kids like me to follow. And there was, again, going back to the Columbine narrative, there was this idea of these two lone wolves
Mhm.
who were outcasts, who were made fun of. That has since been debunked.
Yeah.
But that was the narrative for a very long time.
And I remember after Columbine happened, we had a group of kids at school who the trench coat was a thing. It wasn't just the
Yes.
Columbine thing.
Yes.
It was a look.
Yes.
And I remember being in class after Columbine, and one of the boys came in with his trench coat, and the teacher lost their mind. You take that coat off now, and grabbed, and this is the 90s, so you could, no one cared.
Grab a kid.
Grab the jacket, like pretty much took the jacket off the kid and like threw it out of the room. Like that was such a symbol. Like, yeah.
And there's now in the gun reform groups, like the gun advocacy groups, there is this movement to not talk about shooters' names or anything because the celebrity status that Dylan and Eric had achieved, you take a teenager who at their core, every kid wants one thing, right? Just to be seen.
Yes.
Just to be seen. And when you're a teenager, it is hard to get that need met. And these are boys who are seeing, oh, these guys, they're celebrities now.
Yeah.
Everybody sees them.
Everybody knows
their name. So maybe I need to do this,
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. So Brian even bought a trench coat and he says, I thought Eric and Dylan were the coolest kids. So he now wakes up every day, says he knows he took someone's life. And he says he honestly thought everyone would move on and they would go back to school. And he's like, I realize now how stupid that was.
Yeah.
So we hear from Tori on a call from prison. And he says, I was basically an average piece of shit person. That's hard to hear.
It's hard to hear how they still think about themselves at that age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says he was a coward. He didn't admit what he did, but he's talking about it now. He said, Brian and I had our reasons for hating the world around us. He says, I was drunk on bad ideas and they talked each other into doing it. And that's how they got there.
Yeah.
So we also now learned that Tori was queer.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is, the late 90s, early aughts in Idaho.
In a Mormon family. Like
that's where I wanted to talk about the religion.
Yeah.
Because this is what suppression of identity does to people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they go out and become killers. I'm saying
no.
They internalize and hate themselves.
And they think, I think he said this, if I'm remembering correctly, I didn't think I could tell my mom who I was.
And the mom admits, I would not have taken well to it.
Yeah. She's like, now it's no big deal. But
that's a choice to say on camera today. Like, even if that was true, I would have said something like, if he had come to me, I'm sure I would have been okay with it.
Yeah. It would have taken me time, but
Yeah. So she says, and I felt this in my bones. Tori's mother says, I always thought I was such a good mother. And now I don't feel like I can be a mother to anyone. I feel like a huge failure.
And she says they don't do holidays anymore. She doesn't look at photos. Like, and you have other children. Like, how do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the end, we have a conversation with a professor of psychology at Temple, and we talk about the developing brain. He says the adolescent brain is like a car with an accelerator pressed to the floor and not a good braking system. I thought that was a great metaphor.
I was like, wow, I'd never heard that before. That's 100% correct.
He said in the late teens, early 20s, choices do tend to improve. So, for example, adults often kill for complicated reasons: jealousy, money, life insurance, Alec Murdoch. But adolescents tend to kill just for the thrill or for no reason at all.
Yeah.
And Brian says, I feel like the kid who came into this prison and who I am now are totally different people. That
Yeah.
doesn't even feel like me. I feel like, tell me if you think I'm wrong about this. I feel like Brian has done some work on himself. Like, I don't know if he's getting therapy or reading some stuff or what's going on, but he feels further along in this than Tori.
So I did do some research,
Okay.
and in prison, Brian has been like a upstanding member of society. He's a janitor. He has done music lessons. He
Mhm.
like any program he can get into, he gets into.
Mhm.
He reads.
Mhm.
He has been in therapy. So yeah,
That's interesting.
I
And Tori,
believe
not so much?
I couldn't find anything
Okay.
about it, but I
Okay.
don't
So
know.
maybe, but we don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So on June 25th, 2012, the US Supreme Court rules on mandatory life sentences for juveniles and rules that it's cruel and unusual punishment. And I do agree with that.
I
I
do
do.
agree. Yeah.
But they do not indicate if this will be retroactive. So it's kind of on the states. And I'm like, Idaho's not doing this, honey.
No.
Mm-mm. So I wrote, I would think that, and we kind of see this in the Menendez thing too. If I was a judge, I would take into consideration when this prisoner knew that there
Mhm.
was no way they were getting out of prison. How did they act? Like
Yeah.
if they were an upstanding citizen and trying to better their lives and trying to reform, which is the point of prison,
Yeah.
supposedly, without thinking, I'm doing this just to get out someday, I think that should count for something.
Yeah, like when you have decided this is now my life,
Mhm.
but I wanna be good, because there's some people
Mhm.
who are bad still in prison.
Yes, 100%.
They
Or just make no effort to
Yeah,
reform.
and this is where it's like, is the purpose of prison to reform people and let them back out to try again? Or
Mhm.
is it just to keep them locked away from it forever?
Well, and if the point of prison is to reform people, what levers do we pull to help that happen? Because a lot of people don't have access to any tools to help them reform. They're
Yeah,
just literally locked in a cage.
and that's where it's like, I know we have this, like, we need to give more money to education, which I 100% agree.
Mhm.
But I also think we need to give some money to prisons to give education, to help,
I
to
would argue that if we give more money to the education
oh,
system,
we'll
you'll
have
have
less.
less people in prison.
If we funded schools properly and gave children programs to and
Mhm.
keep themselves busy and learn.
And connected and creative and
Yes.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I believe not everybody's gonna be a doctor, right?
Sure,
Like,
of course.
we need to have music and art in schools. We need to
I
fund those
agree. Yes.
programs
The humanities are everything and they're being ripped out.
because this is where these kind of children who are already wayward and not fitting in,
Mhm.
that's where they're gonna fit in. They're gonna cling to the
I agree.
charts. And yeah.
I talk about this all the time. Like when I was in 7th or 8th grade, I was sexually assaulted. I had a very bad time. I had suicidal ideation.
Mm.
And literally, what saved me was poetry and writing.
Yeah.
And there are so many people with that story
Yeah.
who have been saved by some form of the humanities because the humanities tend to attract those
Yeah.
people. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like I always felt so at home in like an art program or something like that because oh, they're all kind of like the misfits like me.
Yeah, and
They're
if
not the jocks on the football team or the cheerleaders or the, the top of the class. Like they're
yeah,
just people who don't really know their place and that's me and we're connecting.
yeah,
So
and
I
when
agree with you.
you're on a sports team, for example, you're doing things with that team. You're
Yes.
doing team builders, you're
Yeah.
practice, you're
Yeah.
on the bus. So, of course, you're gonna become friends with everybody on the team,
Yeah.
and so that is their connection, and so if I'm not good at football, what is it for me? You
Yeah.
know? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
100%.
I
100%.
I just I believe if we gave more money to education and we funded schools properly, we would have less people in prison. But
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
So we do get I guess, to present the other side, but it felt disjointed, and I don't know why we got to hear the story of Rob Matthews.
Yeah.
And in 1986 in Canton, Massachusetts, Rod went to jail for beating Sean Olette
Yeah.
to death.
I saw either a Dateline or a 2020.
Devastating story.
This
Devastating story.
rang bells in my memory. Yeah.
They basically just did this. These kids were 14, and he just beat them to death for the fun of it. It sounds like it was dark and terrible. Rod was granted parole after 30 years, and a psychologist testified for him and says he did that for justice. I saw his level of remorse, and I saw that he was a very different person than who he was at 14. But Sean's mother says Rod's deed should matter, not his age. And this is a good argument for this.
Yeah.
Like, there's a little bit of, if somebody has this in them, is it always in them?
Like,
and I see that argument.
Yeah.
And I can't sit here with my full chest and say, if somebody, God forbid, hurt my daughter,
no,
that I would be like, oh, they should get out of jail in 30 years. I would probably want them in there for the rest of their lives.
And I can't sit here and say with my full chest that I don't believe if you kill at 14, that's in you. You're a killer. You've tasted blood. Like,
we don't know these things.
It's so hard.
So, the filmmakers asked Tori why Cassie, and he says she was a friend and she was more outgoing than I was. She helped me feel comfortable in my own skin. It had nothing to do with her. She was just the unlucky one who was alone.
Yeah.
The police say something was broken inside of these boys at the time of this murder. And at what point do we declare that fixed? I thought that was brilliantly said.
Because what do they suffer their whole lives for one decision they made at 16?
But we don't have Cassie.
But it was murder. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
So there's part of me that says yes.
Yeah.
And there's part of me that says no. Like, and this is why we need judges to make these decisions.
Yes.
Because I could never be objective enough. Like, this is too much. I can't separate it.
There's so much nuance to this.
I do think they need to be in jail for a very long time. And maybe if they come out, like, it's a supervised situation.
Yeah.
Like, they'll be on parole for the rest of their lives. They'll have an ankle monitor. They have to live with, a guardian, like something like that, maybe.
Yeah, like a halfway house.
Yeah.
But, like, we don't even monitor the people very well that we have on monitor.
We watch Love After Lockup. We know. If you're on Tether, you're just out there running through the drive-thru, getting chicken sandwiches. We don't know what's happening. Yeah. So the police, Brian says he has put in the work. He's a better person today. Tori and Brian are in the same prison, but they're kept apart.
Yeah.
They did bump into each other about 10 years ago. And Brian says, we still hold different positions on what happened, but we both accept responsibility. So Dad says, I do think my son Brian deserves a second chance, but it's really hard to say that because Cassie will never get a second chance.
Oh.
When I look at it from Cassie's parents' point of view, I'm like, throw them in the slammer and throw away the key. I get it. I get it.
I don't ever want them to see the light of day. They should be in a cave prison.
I totally get it. But then, like, if this was my kid, like, it's just
it's because it does, at least what we see on face value of the documentary and what I kind of looked in a quick Google, they do seem to have changed. They're not the same boys they were at 16.
Yeah.
But then what if they had never been found? Would they have killed more students? Would they have done a school shooting? Would they have killed more?
Probably.
Like,
because don't forget, nobody ran into the police station and told anybody what they did.
No.
They were called in and broke under interrogation.
Yeah. And thank God they didn't record the murder, but they recorded everything leading up to it and after.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were making a movie and they were the stars. And
So the police believe Ryan should have received some consideration for his cooperation. And again, I think that was a mistake. That should have been leveraged. I agree with
Yeah.
that. Idaho will not retroactively change juvenile status. Shocker. They would need commutation by the governor, and that's not going to happen. Cassie's mom, Anna, passed away in 2022 after cancer battle. I'm sorry. And we end with Amber talking about what Cassie could have been and would have been, and how they've robbed Cassie of a life not lived. And that was really sad. So that's where we end. This is a hard one. I'm all over the map on this.
In my Googling, I believe if it seems, everything seems to point, and everything other people have said, that Matt, the boyfriend, went on to not have a super great life, had intense survivor's guilt. And it did not say it, but everywhere associated, it gives the information for suicide crisis line.
Okay.
So I believe.
Is he still with us, or we don't know?
He committed suicide.
Okay. All right. This is devastating. This is just this town, these parents, this school, everybody has been destroyed by this.
Yeah. I read an interview with Andrew, who was Cassie's younger brother by 8 months.
Oh, Jesus.
And they decided to not, it was the spokesperson for his family now. And he decided to not be in the documentary because they were going to be speaking to Brian and Tori.
Okay.
And he did not want
understand that
his voice and their voice to be in the same documentary.
That makes total sense. So one of the things that I saw about this documentary is there's a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, wow, why are we having sympathy for these murderers? And I do understand that point of view. I get it. I get it. And I think the point of the documentary, in my opinion, is not to sympathize with these boys, but to highlight, as you said, how many lives have been destroyed by their actions.
Yes.
And I think it does that well, because you do end having empathy for their parents.
I don't have empathy for Tori or Brian because they committed this crime.
Did this. Yeah.
But I have empathy for their parents, for their siblings, for
and I do. So, by me saying, like, should they be out of prison? Should they, like you said, I'm not having empathy for them.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what justice looks like that's fair. Yes. If that makes sense. So, like, considering that they were 16, should there be a mandatory sentence for the rest of their life? I mean, many people will probably argue yes. If I was Cassie's mother, I would say yes.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
And it just makes me feel like boys are so forgotten. Like,
yeah,
there's just, and I know it happens, but it's statistically, how many girls are school shooters? Like,
not many.
Yeah.
Not many.
So, like, what, and let's be honest, it's mostly white boys, like, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it that makes them want to do these things?
Like, I don't know. I think that we don't encourage emotional support for young boys.
Sensitivity.
Yeah. We just don't encourage that. Like, I don't know. We much more encourage that with girls.
Yes.
Tell me how you feel. Talk to me, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I think as a society, we're getting better with that.
Getting better. Yes.
But, oh my God, it's so hard. It's so hard.
It's so hard. And I look at my own sons, they're 20 and 22. And after in middle school, after a school shooting, my older son got teased a little bit, like, oh, are you going to do a school shooting? Are you a school shooter? And I remember how upset that made him, and, like,
of course,
dealing with that. And I don't know.
Because they also, like, the narrative that kind of emerges a lot of times out of these school shootings is like, it's the kid who's picked on. It's the lone wolf. So then that further exacerbates that isolation.
That mentality. Yeah.
Yes. So it's really scary.
This is just a tragedy. This is a horrible, horrible tragedy.
And I understand that people are going to have a lot of hot opinions about this.
Yeah.
So I ask that if you're in our comments and you're talking about it, to just please be respectful of each other's opinions, because everybody is looking at this case through their own lens. And, you know, mothers of children who have been murdered are going to look at this one way, and children who've, you know, had violence committed against them. So, like, just be respectful and, you know, let us know what you think, but let's try to have a conversation around it.
They're guilty. We know they're guilty.
They're guilty 100%. And they should be in jail. Yes. Like, even now they're in jail for 18 years. They should still be in jail.
Yeah.
I don't want them out of jail.
No,
like, stay in there.
I'm not ready for them to be in the world with us.
No.
But do they ever deserve to? But what is a life for you if you've spent 60 years in prison?
Right.
Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, guys, this has been a not so uplifting episode of Murder, She Watched, but this is what we do here. We watch true crime and we talk about it.
Yeah.
So, Becca, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your research.
Yeah, it was just a quick Google search. I'm no Kyla or Axel. But...
Oh, Axel's research is just a Google search too.
Where Kyla, she's reading the book.
Kyla's doing the most.
She's doing the work. Yes.
Yes. Guys, if you would like to hear bonus content, and Becca and I talking, you know, about Murdochs, and we did the entire Staircase documentary and scripted show, you can find us over on Murder Club, which is our Patreon and Apple subscriptions. The link is in the show notes. All right. Thank you all. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.